Hi everyone, Josh and Joe from PH Tennis. We are going to be comparing our 4 favourite power rackets today. Now power rackets are great, you get loads of easy power on the board obviously, they're stiff, generally a thicker frame, really great to use, especially if you're kind of new to the game and you want some help creating power. Or you have a short kind of punchier swing counter puncher. This is also a good category to be in. As a retailer, our most popular range of rackets. We sell more power frames than we do of anything else.
And funny enough, Josh and I both use power rackets. We use different ones. One's the best racket, one's good.
So we'll talk about Joe's good racket very shortly.
So what makes a power racket a power racket? Well, they've usually got a thicker frame. Through the throat, through the whole beam, extra thickness generally, and that leads to a stiffness. And both these things, the thickness and the stiffness, as a result, lead to more power. You guessed it. They also tend to be head light. Now, it was a time, say with a head TIS6 or some of the old rackets, that they would be head heavy, and that extra torque in swinging through is what would give you the power. Technology has moved on, and now you get a lighter head, swing through faster, but thicker and stiffer throughout. So speaking of the head, they usually come in 100 square inch or above, and that extra size in the head gives a larger sweet spot. Again, more access to power. With that 100 square inch or slightly more than that head size, you also usually get an open string pattern. The open string pattern, again, going to give you more power. And finally, they're all blue. We don't know why. We're going to have a look at the head boom. You got this.
The Babolat Pure Drive, it's a beautiful thing.
A classic. The Wilson Ultra, beautiful.
And the Yonex E-Zone.
What a racket.
So let's start where we finished there, with the Yonex E-Zone, which, as we've just discussed, is Joe's racket, has been his racket for a long time. He's a bit of a fanboy. A great power racket for a number of reasons. One of them is actually, I think, because it offers more than that.
Yeah, I think so. I think there are a couple of things with the E-Zone that I like particularly. It's the only one, not this version funny enough, but it's the only power frame that we've got that comes in a 98 inch. So you are getting more control with that smaller head. I think it is absolutely the racket that balances, the power racket that balances power and control the best. It's not a sledgehammer. It's got a little bit more guile to it. It's a little bit kinder, softer, more intelligent than some of the other power rackets.
But this is interesting, Joe, because this is a video about power rackets, not power with a bit of control rackets. So, which is why I think maybe sometimes it lacks some of that booming power that some other rackets have. Speaking of booming, the newest addition to this space, Heads boom. And Head were kind of missing a racket in this category. They had the Instinct, which is a bit of a lower tier frame. The Gravity was easy to use but didn't have that thickness of frame or stiffness, a bit flexible. So the boom has really filled that hole well. And has been really popular. Outtake in it has meant that it stiffens up nicely when you contact the ball, but stays soft, so you get that feel still similar to the E-Zone. But it's certainly Head's most kind of powerful, easy access to power rackets.
Yeah, as we said in our review of the best rackets of 2022, the Outtake that Head have added to their new range of rackets has made a massive difference, and the boom it's a new racket, but really benefits from having a combination of flexibility and stiffness on contact. I think actually you get a lot of power out of it, and it looks great.
So next on our list is the Wilson Ultra. This is probably the kind of most different to all the other ones, because none of the Wilson rackets are really built around stiffness. They've all got 45 in, which was a technology that was kind of pioneered with the Clash, the previous version, which allows loads of flex in the head on power. And that flex in the head, whilst giving you obviously that extra dwell time and control, the Ultra is the kind of most powerful version of that. As we said at the top about it's worked great for people with shorter swings, looking for that kind of racket to do some of the work for you. The Wilson Ultra isn't that. It's a power racket, but one where you have to do a lot of the work for you. So if you're an aggressive baseline, you have a long modern swing, looking for a power frame that gives you that extra edge, then great option. But if you're a bit of a shorter counter puncher, looking for a power frame, this isn't going to compare to the other ones that we've been talking about.
Yeah, I think so. It
looks great as well.
It looks great. Someone that plays with the E-Zone, it's very, very different, and not my cup of tea, to be very British about it. It's yes, you need a big long swing. You need to work to get that power. It will give you loads of power once you're working it yourself. But the difference between this and the E-Zone is the E-Zone is the opposite. Easy access to power with the E-Zone. Short compact swings, you're going to get a lot out of it. This, you've got to work for it, but you still get it.
And the number one, my racket, the Pure Drive, the stiffest, the most easy access to power. You put a bit of 4G soft in this, you'll be flying. Great counter punching, use your opponent's pace against them, short compact swing. It's a great racket, crisp to volley with. Just a really easy racket to use. Highly recommended for players, especially if they're new into the game, because it is just so easy to generate easy power.
Yeah, fantastic entry-level racket. If someone wanted to get started and create some power. In all seriousness, I find the Pure Drive a little bit more of a sledgehammer, a little bit less control. I know we're talking about power rackets, but we're not just talking about getting power. We're talking about what these power rackets give you. And for me, it's just not as multi-dimensional as the E-Zone. Fantastic racket, and as just said, string it with some 4G soft,
which I think softens it a bit.
Yes,
so
it does,
is more similar to, let's say, an E-Zone. If you stick like an RPM blast in this, and it's even tougher, and then it is a difficult thing to use. Yeah. So that softer string option is quite nice.
There you go. There's power rackets. Get more power. Just a disclaimer though, you're not just going to get a load of power.
You have to do the work.
These are going to aid you in creating a little bit more power, but it's more about the characteristics.
If you want to know how to create power, check out our video in the description below about how to get more power on your shots. Hi everyone, Josh from PH Tennis, and here at PH Tennis we love power. We want you to hit the ball harder and faster and better. And one of the ways... Too much?
Yeah, of course that's too much.